Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and game 4 in this best of 7 series between Root QXC and Liquid Tyler. Game 4 taking place in the Delta Quadrant. This will be a Terran versus Protoss matchup, and I am looking forward to it. Liquid Tyler spawning as the green Protoss player over here at the 7 o'clock position. Meanwhile, we have Root QXC spawning as the purple Terran. So this will be Terran versus Protoss. Now, Delta Quadrant, one of the maps where I believe it really favors Terran style of play, but there are also a number of things that Protoss players can do. Protoss players can try to place pylons here and try to warp across this gap. Terran players normally place some sort of supply depot here or some production buildings in order to block this. Terran players, on the other hand, have a lot of options with Banshees. Banshees are very, very strong on this map just because of the amount of dead space over here and over here, making it very difficult for stalkers to get underneath and only being able to use observers to even keep track of where that Banshee goes. We now see SCV still being trained up, and we now see a barracks being placed down here. So QXC opting to go for a supply depot with a barracks right next to it. This will help against any early zealot pushes, as Marines can stand in right here in this pocket in that confines and be relatively protected. We now see a refinery being placed down. So that was a 14 refinery. I don't know if that was on purpose or if it was a little bit delayed for any real reason. Or sorry, if that was on purposely delayed or if that was just something where QXC just momentarily skipped. We do see a gateway finish warping, or will be finished warping in just a moment. A simulator is already up and running with 3 probes inside. I don't know if you ever noticed this, but there you can see the little box of gas that it appears right there, and then it gets pulled in, and then that's when the probe grabs it. So a little kind of cute. I think all the races have a nice little animation there. The gas being pulled up and then being brought into that refinery. Very, very cute. Anyways, I don't know what the Zerg one really looks like. I don't think the Zerg one is as cool. So I'm sorry, Extractor, Assimilator, and Refinery are much cooler than you are. Anyways, back to the game. QXC just wandering around with this one SCV will be able to gain sight. We do see one Marine now guarding that high point there and maybe able to get Tyler's probe. And yes, and it looks like that probe will get taken down. Oh, there it goes. And that probe didn't really get to see much of anything at all, as QXC now opting to go for a second Rax. This is a very, very interesting build. One Rax with a reactor. I'm not sure what the second Rax will add on. If he goes for a reactor, it could be a Marine tank. No, now going for a tech lab, so it is just going to be Marine Marauder instead. I've seen a lot of dual racks with reactors in order to do a siege tank push, and that's become a very, very popular style of play. It's not something I normally see or even scout out, as it is something that happens more often on the Korean servers. The one sentry now trying to get some damage. Oh, nice force field block there, blocking the QXC QXC's SCV, and now one force field, 50 energy to take down one scouting SCV and some critical numbers there. And now with 2 Marines trying to make their way through, it is not going to work out very well for them at all. There is one Zealot. Yeah, the Zealot should probably be the one in the front. The Sentry, the one in the back, as it is range. Those Marines going to try to walk up that ramp and quickly figure out that there's not much they can really do. The concussive shell now currently being researched. So it's going to be 4 Marines with 1 Marauder, with 1 concussive, with 1 of those Punisher grenades, trying to slow down those units. And now QXC just continuing his macro, trying to get a very strong army built up, and now they're going to simply try to charge up this ramp. So Marine and Marauder now going up first, and now it outmoves these units. The Marauder has to be very careful, though. The Marauder now getting some damage onto that Zealot. Zealot is being kited. Down goes one Zealot there. The Marauder needs to try to kite again. One Marine has been taken down. I believe 2 Marines. Yeah, 2 Marines have been taken down. So both sides just exchanging units back and forth. SCV now also gaining in on that fight, or joining in on that fight. Down goes that Sentry. So very, very micro-intensive battle here. That Zealot most likely will get shot down in the back. There it goes with the Gauss rifle, and now only 1 Stalker is currently here. More units need to be warped in, and are these units going to simply walk up that ramp? Yeah, going to walk up that ramp there, get a lot of damage onto that, and now try to turn around, try to get some damage onto that Zealot. The Zealot is taking a fair amount of damage, and now Tyler is in trouble as his army is just simply getting kited by 2 Marauders and 2 Marines. The Marines now trying to regroup, perhaps. Not exactly sure what these units are doing. They need to stick closer together, try to take down those pylons, make it so that he is supply locked. However, Tyler being very careful to warp in units just beyond sight range. And now Tyler, oh, the Dark Shrine now coming online. That Dark Shrine needs to get sniped down. Otherwise, Tyler is going to have a very, very formidable force of Dark Templars coming in. Marauders and Zealots, no, Marauders and Marines trying to battle against those Zealots. And in comes a new group of units. And those Zealots are going to simply walk back up the ramp. But now with one Dark Templar out, that may be too much. The Dark Templar getting one slash, another slash. And that was the problem. QXC was not able to snipe down that very, very low hit point Dark Shrine. And now the Dark Templar are trying to rack up those kills. Back over here, we do see energy on that orbital command nearing 50. So a scanner sweep should be coming online in just a moment. But those Dark Templars need to get a little bit of distance between themselves. You do not want to have one scanner sweep reveal and take down two Dark Templars. One Dark Templar now trying to run away there. Zealots will not be able to run up. And now in comes a new Dark Templar. So that new Dark Templar will be able to come in. That scanner sweep is now finished, but there is now a missile turret, and that missile turret purposely placed there just to detect that Dark Templar. Very, very nicely done, causing Liquid Tyler to end up just sacrificing that one Dark Templar in order to do a little bit of scouting. Tyler now opting to go for a Nexus and trying to expand. I believe Tyler is a little bit behind at this stage. You can take a look at the Harvester count. He's down by 2 Harvesters. There is already an orbital command upgrading to a command center upgrading to an orbital command. It should lift off, land here in just a moment. And now you can see QXC is mining off of with so many SCVs here that he needs to definitely transfer some over. This is too many SCVs on these minerals. It is diminishing returns, and now a missile turret will be placed down. The Dark Templar needs to be very careful. Perhaps get some attacks in. There is one missile turret there, and now there's that scanner sweep. Buying time for this missile turret to get placed down. Missile turret builds relatively quickly. I believe it's the fastest building that a Terran player can actually make. Supply depots take 35, missile turrets only take 25. So yeah, the time it takes to train up one Marine is the time that it takes to build a missile turret. Now we have 2 Reapers in play, and these are very relatively late Reapers that I have not seen come into play all that often. Those Reapers may be able to hug along this edge, jump down, jump here, and then jump down again in order to get some damage onto those probes. And it looks like that is going to be the case. Going to jump down there and now go after probes, getting 1 shot, 1 kill already. But Tyler being very, very careful to micro those probes away. Only was able to get off 1 shot there. Stalker's now trying to come in, and those Reapers do not have that movement speed upgrade. No, they do not have it. Trying to run away. Those Stalkers should be able to, no, not be able to get any additional shots off there, as those Reapers now trying to return home in order to get some more hits. No, going back here and now going for another group of probes. So more probes are coming in, and now those Reapers are upgraded 1-0, so they are able to deal a lot of damage. Those Reapers, however, need to be very, very careful, and they will try to escape. Looks like it will be able to escape there, but now the in comes some Dark Templars. Dark Templar maybe able to get off 1 kill. There you go. And now QXC sitting on the high ground with that 1 Reaper. The Reaper does deal 10 damage per attack against light units. That allows him to 2-shot any probes, and that's how that was so effective with that Reaper harassment there, at least causing Tyler to stop his mining and do a little bit of micro. 1 Dark Templar stil sitting off in that location. It looks as though the Reaper going to try to come back in, try to get more damage. It may be able to get off 1 kill, 2 at most, but I believe that is going to be the end of it. Yeah, there goes that Reaper. So during that time, the QXC was continuing to just try to build up a stronger economy, sitting on 43 Harvesters, mining at 1,400 minerals. Production-wise, you can see how much he is constantly producing, but now you see Tyler moving out with a very, very formidable force, a much larger army in this particular instance, and a Guardian Shield coming online, and now in come these Zealots. Force Fields now coming in as well. All of those Marines and Marauders trying to pull away. Stalkers also getting a lot of damage. That Guardian Shield really reducing the amount of damage that those Marines are able to do, but the Guardian Shield has worn off. Tyler now needs to be very careful, but Stim Marines and Marauders are going to turn the tide of that battle, and now SCVs lead the way in order to try to absorb some of that damage. Stalkers now trying to return all the way home. There are a couple Zealots and Sentries, and I believe this 1 Stalker should be able to get back within the cover and then try to walk up that ramp. Probes now trying to escape, making sure that they do not die a mechanical death there. And now QXC is going to be able to simply clean up this expansion attempt. And this expansion, and now Tyler is in trouble. Another force field coming in. Oh, trapping many of those Marauders in that backs against the energy there. back against the wall. More Marines are getting taken down. Stalker's just doing a great job. So really, Tyler, even though he has a smaller army continually, he is doing a great job of trying to utilize his units very, very effectively. In comes another Marauder here, and now Sentry's going after that Marauder. This one Marauder now going after the probes, should be able to get off 2, perhaps even 3 probe kills if it is very lucky. Now going after that probe kill. Another probe has been taken down. The Marauder now trying to pull away, but that Marauder will get cleaned up in just a moment, and down it goes. Back over here, we now see a drop attempt coming in. So 3 Marauders and a Hellion will be dropping into the base. Tyler, trying to play this game of tug-of-war, doesn't realize that what is exactly happening, but this is 500 minerals. This is half of QXC's army on the move in order to do a drop attempt, as we have more Marines and Marauders gonna try to fight within that mineral line there. Marauders now coming in. There's that force field. So Zealots preventing any, those force fields preventing any sort of retreat, but now those sentries, now those Marines may be able to jump inside here, and then now in comes that drop. So the drop of Marauders and Hellions, stopping the mining at the main base. So both sides taking a lot of damage, and Marines and Marauders now trying to walk down, however, find themselves against an army of sentries and zealots. More damage has been dealt. The SCVs are trying to auto-repair. Marauders will get focused down here, and both sides just exchanging in very, very small skirmishes. SCVs with the benefit of a medevac in the air, trying to heal them up, trying to keep this army alive. And now I believe Tyler is doing a really, really strong push, and now in comes another drop over here. So QXC preventing any mining between these 2 locations. Probes now trying to mine back over here in the main base, as the Stalkers and the army has been cleaned up. Was over here underneath the command center. Now Stalker's trying to move up. Zealots also trying to get more damage. Marauders, however, should have that stim pack, should be able to turn around, deal more damage against those Zealots. Zealots are being kited very, very well, and those Zealots just falling because they do not have charge, and Punisher grenades make it so that the Marauders, properly micro, can take down a very, very large number of Zealots without taking any serious damage there. We now see the Marauders have finished off the expansion over here on the low ground. And now, yeah, Tyler is in trouble. So QXC doing a great job splitting his attention between defending his base and being aggressive in his opponent's base. And now the medevac perhaps should try to drop over on this side, as the Stalkers are getting a lot of damage, and now the medevac is moving away once again. But now we have a very, very large army. QXC not tiring in his production, training up more units. Marauders are going to be able to walk up that ramp. I do not know. There is one sentry with a force field, so that force field will have to come down just in time. However, the Stalkers leading the way, and that is going to be a problem. Stalkers now trying to come in. Are we going to get some force fields splitting up some of that army? There you go. Splitting up the army. The Marauders now trying to run away, unable to get anywhere effectively. And now the Zealots and Stalkers are now trying to return. Back over here, we still have that medevac, and the medevac is going to be dropping once again. So a nice split attack there, and Tyler leaves the game. So Liquid Tyler losing to Root QXC here in the Delta Quadrant. No GG, just a lot of harassment, a lot of use of Marauders and Marines. Very, very effective. Those Marines are upgraded 1-1 against non-upgraded Zealots, Sentries, and Stalkers. So that's really the reason why those Zealots were not dealing that much damage at all. Marauders with 2 armor reduce the amount of damage that a Zealot does normally against 16, but because of that base armor and then +1, down to 12 damage per attack. That is what, a 25% decrease in damage, and that is fairly large, especially in such small battles here where everything is micro intensive and you're trying to get every ounce of resources out of your units and trying to make them go the extra mile. Really well played by QXC. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 matchup between QXC and Tyler here in the Delta Quadrant. Game 4 in the Clan War and Machinima Realm Invitational between Team Liquid and Root.